everyone. This is Tamara from shelfaddiction.com, and welcome to episode 97. Today on Book Chat, I'm talking with new author Melisa Ruscsak. In addition to being a published author, Melisa is a fellow book nerd and book reviewer. She's joining me tonight to share our anticipated YA fiction titles of spring and summer. All of Melisa's social media links are below in the show notes, so if you'd like to connect with her, you know where to find her. If you enjoyed today's episode, please like and share it. Show your support by rating the podcast and leaving a positive review on iTunes. The podcast can also be found on the Spreaker app, YouTube, Google Play Music, the Stitcher app, and more. If you'd like to email in feedback or questions, feel free to reach out to me at info@shelfaddiction.com, or you can leave an internet voice message on SpeakPipe. I look forward to hearing from you. The link is in the show notes. Today's episode is sponsored by Reading Until Dawn Con, a small con where you get to play with the authors who keep you up all night. Join MC, New York Times bestselling author Larissa Ion for games like Are You Smarter Than a Fictional Character and Dirty Pictionary. Reading Until Dawn Con will be on June 3rd, 2017 in Denver, Colorado. Tickets are limited, so grab yours today. The registration link is below in the show notes. See you in Denver. Hey, Melisa, thank you for joining me this evening. How are you doing today?
Good, and you?
I'm doing pretty well. I'm really excited to jump into these titles and share what we're looking forward to in YA. How about yourself?
So am I. Let's go ahead and get right in this.
Okay. Well, before we start, let's share what we're reading right now. I always think that's fun because I always have a couple of things on deck. Unfortunately, none of it is YA, even though we're talking about YA today. All the stuff I'm reading is adults. So you want to start or shall I?
I'll start.
Okay.
Currently, I'm reading The Rose Thorn by Maddie Ivy Harrison, the author of Princess and the Hound. So far, about halfway through the book. Really good read if you're into princesses and kingdoms and a little bit of magical mysticism. Has two princesses, and they're currently fighting over the same kingdom. Even though one is from another kingdom.
Okay.
I'm really hoping she does a sequel to this one. So far, her other books are all standalone books. Hoping she changes that today.
Okay, let's cross our fingers. I'll start with the most popular book, probably, which would be The Chosen by J.R. Ward. It's been out almost a month now, I think, and I am 90% done with it, and I'm loving it. It's the 15th, or I think it's the 15th, so don't quote me, I might be wrong. The 15th book in the Black Dagger Brotherhood series. So it's completely urban fantasy, adult urban fantasy. Some might call it paranormal romance, even though it's kind of light on the romance in the later books. It's more, I don't know, just urban fantasy, I guess. Vampires, lessers, good and evil, that type of thing. And I'm just really enjoying it. I'm trying to make it last since I won't get another book for a year.
Yeah, that is always a hard thing when you're reading a really good series and then you have to wait a whole year for the next book.
I know, it's the worst.
My hardest thing.
Yeah, I've actually been making this book last for 2 weeks. I'll just read a little bit here and a little bit there and save it for later because I'm in no hurry to rush through it,
Right. That's how I was the first time I read Anne Bishop's The Black Jewels.
Mm-hmm.
The first book came out, and it took me, a week to finish it. Then I was like, wait, I have to wait a year. So I went back, and I think within that year, I read the first book 3 or 4 times.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess that's cool with the first book. I can't do that with 14 previous books. Well, I could, but then I couldn't read anything else probably. So what else are you reading? Any audiobooks or do you?
I haven't gotten into audio yet because my computer really doesn't handle it very well. However, I am getting ready, just did read Urban Fantasy, The Raging Falcon. Mm-hmm. It's the first of a new author. Very good. If you're looking for post-apocalypse, trying to come back to our past to save the future.
Oh, okay. So it's kind of time travel?
It is, but there's a little bit of not just time travel, but a little bit of magic involved. Just a year.
I like that. That's an interesting mix.
Yeah, and it's not my normal genre to read, but I was like, hey, what the heck is new author? I'm always excited to see what's new coming out.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Well, I just started this book. It is called Once Bitten by Heather McCorkle. It's the first book in the Wolves of Hemlock Hollow series. I'm not sure if it's going to be a trilogy or a series, but it's, all the things you kind of expect from urban fantasy. Werewolves this time, not vampires. So werewolves. So that's kind of change of pace a little bit, but it's still my wheelhouse. And, it's brand new. I think it just came out April 24th, so it hasn't been out for long. And I'm enjoying it so far, but I'm pretty early in. I literally started it like yesterday, so we'll see how it goes.
I want to hear a review when you're done with it, because I'm leaning toward do I want to or do I not? I'm on the fence with that one.
Oh, okay, I'll let you know.
Good, but at the same time, my daughter loves the werewolves and vampires, so sometimes we trade books.
Ah, okay. Well, I gotta tell you, the cover art is really interesting. They have a hot guy on the front, as expected with these kind of books. So,
of course,
yeah.
You can't sell a good book without a hot guy. If it's not on the cover, it has to be somewhere in the book.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, Heather McCorkle's got it down. She's got someone hot on the cover, so it's all good. So I just have one more for what I'm currently listening to. I have 2 to 3 on deck at all times, and this one's an audiobook, and it's For 100 Days by Laura Adrian. It's actually a really change of pace from the things I was just mentioning. This is a contemporary romance / some might say it was borderline erotica. I don't know. I'm about 60% in, and it's a little spicy. So if you're going to listen to it on audio, definitely have the headphones handy. You don't want to embarrass yourself. But other than that, it's all good. If you know Laura Adrian, she does the Midnight Breed series, which is paranormal. So she's definitely taking a deviation with this series, but it's pretty good.
We'll look forward to hearing about it.
Yeah. The topic for today, you guys, we're going to talk about our highly anticipated spring and summer. It's really late spring now. Spring and summer YA titles. So, Melissa has some and I have some, and we'll just jump in. Melissa, why don't you kick it off with your first pick?
My first pick would be The Flames and the Mist by Renee. I'm horrible with her last name. I'm sorry. So I'm probably going to butcher it.
It looks like a day to me. I don't know if that's right.
That's what I'm thinking. It's a retelling of retells within one story. It's Middle Eastern, which is not my normal wheelhouse to read, but she has a perfect blend of romance, magic, and just everything else inside of the retellings.
You said it was how many in one? How many retellings?
3.
Huh. Now, I did see that, and I tagged it on my side as well, but I didn't realize it was 3 retellings in one. So is it like 3 separate stories, or are they interwoven?
No. She blends everything perfectly, where sometimes the character is telling of one of the stories that's retold, and sometimes they're stories through their actions, but she blends them seamlessly.
So I knew that one of them, I guess, would be, I guess it's centered around samurai in Japanese mythology. But, I guess it's kind of like a Mulan retelling, I hear. So what are the other ones?
Unfortunately, I won't know until I get through the book.
Did you know the Mulan part, though?
Yes, I did.
Okay, I think that's what she's toting it as, because I actually have read another book by her. Did you read The Wrath and the Dawn? She was really well known for that.
I did. Did you read The Rose and the Dagger? It's the follow-up. If you haven't read it, you have to read that one just to get the complete story.
Okay. Because, if I'm really honest, I did not love The Wrath and the Dawn. I thought it was good. I thought it was, as expected, but I didn't just fall all over in love with it. So I didn't read the second one because of that. So you're saying it's definitely worth it, though, to check out the second one?
Yes, the second one is better. However, the ending feels rushed. There needs to be one more chapter maybe 2.
Mm.
That's the only thing I don't like about the book.
Mm-hmm.
It's much better than first.
Well, that's good to know. All right, so my first one is Roar, which is the first in the Stormheart. I guess it's trilogy series. I hate to say if it's a trilogy or a series because I never know at first. But this is by Cora Carmack, and everyone kind of knows her for some popular YA titles. And this is again in my favorite thing, which is fantasy. So I'm definitely looking forward to this. It comes out June 30th, but the early reviews are pretty good, so I'm excited about it.
Very interesting.
Well, did you have a chance to check this one out? It's kind of about, let me just give you the intro sentence. In a land ruled and shaped by violent magical storms, power lies within those who control them. That sounds all day like Storm from the X-Men to me.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
That would definitely be Storm.
Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. We'll see. I'm holding out hope.
Yeah, there's so many books that are on my list to check out, but so little time to read them.
Oh, I know. Book nerd problems, right?
Yes. That and bookshelf problems.
You run out of room?
Well, I figured out every time I go shopping, I need a new bookshelf. I'm running out of houses to put bookshelves.
Well, I don't think that's a bad problem to have. You need to get the floor-to-ceiling ones. That's what's next on my agenda, floor-to-ceiling bookshelves for the whole wall.
Oh, yes. I'm thinking about having some built in.
If you end up doing that, you got to send pics because I love those kind of shelves. They're awesome. So, yes, definitely. If you end up doing that, I want to see.
It's definitely on my to-do list.
Mm-hmm.
Might take me a while, but it's on my to-do list.
Awesome. Okay, so what's next on your list for the YA titles?
Noble Servant by Melanie Dickerson is a retelling of the Goose Girl. A few years ago, Shannon Hill did the Goose Girl series, follows the princess who talks to geese.
Okay.
Her retelling does a lot more. It's marketed as YA, but it leans more toward adult, from the way she describes her characters and some of the innuendos that she puts in there.
Well, you know what? When I was doing my little lookup of this title, I saw that quite a few people have tagged this as Christian fiction. Do you think that's what this is?
It leans toward it, I think. She does. A lot of her books lean toward Christian fiction.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just from reading from some of her earlier works.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's that and definitely historical. So this is not on my radar. I gotta be honest. I do read a lot of retellings, but this probably wouldn't be in my wheelhouse. So while it does sound interesting, I think I'm gonna have to pass on this one.
She doesn't put in too much of the religion into her retellings, but it's definitely there in the background.
Yeah. Well, you know, the early reviews are doing pretty well. I mean, I think there's almost 80 reviews on Goodreads with an average of 4.1. So that's good. That's good news. So people who are getting their hands on it early, they're enjoying it. So that's fabulous. Go Melanie Dickerson.
That sounds very promising.
Yeah. Now, you know what? I didn't have as many as you, so I'm just going to bring up one that was not on the hot list that we looked at. But that is the third book in a series, and that's A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J. Maas. So everyone, this started with A Court of Thorns and Roses. Have you heard of this?
I have. She's actually an author I'm looking to get into after I finish some other books. So
let me just say, if you are out there and you read A Court of Thorns and Roses and you didn't love it, full disclosure, I didn't love it either. It was okay. But I promise you, book 2 is phenomenal. It's like, I don't know what happened. Like, I kept hearing that book 2 was amazing. So I said, okay, book 1 was okay. But okay, I'll give it a go since everyone is saying the same thing. And I promise you, it is the truth. So I feel like this is one of those series that just keeps getting better and better and better with each one. So I'm feeling hopeful.
That's always a good thing when the second book outdoes the first.
Mm-hmm.
It makes you double check the author.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'd rather have it that way. I'd rather have an uphill, improved progression than the sophomore slump. That's bad.
A lot of times the first book in a series starts out a lot slower, only because they're finding the voice of the characters. That's just my personal take.
Well, I believe that because this is actually, it started off as a retelling of Beauty and the Beast. So A Court of Thorns and Roses is technically a retelling of Beauty and the Beast. But as the story goes on, it feels less of a retelling because it seems like it has its own world and it's not necessarily following that story anymore because, we all know how Beauty and the Beast ends. So this kind of goes beyond that. So it definitely is taking its own shape at this point. It doesn't feel like that type of story anymore. So I really love how she did that. So I'll be sharing this one with you when I get it.
Of course. I look forward to hearing that. I do a lot of retellings when I get into the young adults scene.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Just because there's so many ways an author can take the same story. And no two retellings ever are the same.
So true.
And then on my list that I'm still building is Girls Made of Glass and Snow. That is a retelling of The 12 Dancing Princesses. That one is an anticipated book. Like I said, it's a retelling of The 12 Dancing Princesses, but there's a twist in there, but I'm not sure what the twist is yet. I've researched on it, but it looks awesome from the cover art.
Now, you know what? This one says September. Okay, so this is like at the tail end of the summer, guys. This won't be out for a while. But it does look interesting. Okay, I'm going to have to add this. I'm going to add it. I noticed you also had in your list Mask and Shadows by Stephanie Burgess.
That is another very anticipated book for me. I follow her very closely. I have to go to the library for that one. Like I said, I'm having bookshelf issues. Library is always a good place for me to, but not so much as have it in the house. Like I said, book nerd problems.
Right, of course. Well, definitely this one, I like how it looks. I love the cover art. I like that it's fantasy. I like that it has a bit of romance. I like that it's historical because while I don't really lean toward a lot of historical fiction, I do like 1779, not that year specifically, but the 1700s, right? It's a unique kind of time. So I do kind of like the idea of that. So hopefully it translates well and it's, a good read. Cause I think it's about a, castrato singer in Europe.
Yes.
So that should be interesting.
And they get thrown into the court life. So, and it's this personal assassin and you just have all these intricate details. It's one of those books that's going to be, you read the first time to get the feel in the book, but you're going to have to read it 2 or 3 times to get all the details. That's just how she writes.
Well, you know what? This is weird because it must be the paperback or something. Because when looking on Goodreads, it says that it was originally published in 2016. So that's so weird that it's on the new release, thing. Maybe it's new to the U.S. Is this originally not a U.S. story?
I'm thinking it's just being publicated in the U.S. That's my feel on it.
That makes sense.
Because I have not seen this in stores before.
No, me neither.
The court is pre-ordering now, but like I said, I've seen the ads for the pre-orders, but I have not seen it publicated in the U.S. before.
Well, this is definitely cool, and I'm loving the cover art. And I'm a sucker for good cover art, even though that's not necessarily the best thing ever, but I can't help it.
Yeah, if you have a good cover, usually you can get more people to read. But
true statement.
Then again, you have the covers that are just the title of the book, and they turn out to be this amazingly awesome book.
That's true, too. So I guess I kind of use the cover art in combination with the synopsis on the back of the book and make a intelligent decision that way. But when I'm shopping in store, I will read. I don't know if you do this, but I will read randomly. I'll pick 5 different pages and read the 5 pages. It won't be in any kind of, I'll pick one from the middle, one from the back, one from the front, maybe 2 together, and I'll see if I even like the author's writing style. I've done that before when I'm shopping in person for books.
Personally, when I'm shopping in a bookstore, I read the first chapter. The entire first chapter. If I'm not feeling it within the first chapter, I'm not buying it.
I used to do that, but I hate those books where it's a slow start and it takes you 50 pages to get into it. And most first chapters aren't 50 pages long. So you might miss out on a good book doing that, though, if it,
Yeah, true, but
Maybe. Awesome. So I know you had one more on your list for 2017, and that was The Black Witch. Tell me a little bit about that one.
Okay, that's Lori Forrest. It's a turn of the century, strong female character, a lot of mysticism. However, it's not getting a lot of good reads, which I don't understand, but I would still have to read it.
Honestly, it's on Harlequin Teen, and Harlequin Teen, they usually do pretty well. But I've got to say, with 1,000 ratings, the average is 1.9 on Goodreads, and that is shocking.
That's surprising.
Yeah.
Very, very, very. But then again, this is the first book in the series or trilogy. I'm not sure which way she's taking this book.
Oh no, I'm scared. I've read it long. No, you know me. Look, I'm sitting here and I'm scrolling through and I see some of the first comments on the reviews, and I know what people hate about it. They're all calling out the same thing, and I'm scared now. I'm not going to read it. I'm scared. This is an author's worst nightmare. I know it is. Everyone calls out one thing or 2 or 3 things that they hate, and everyone is repeating themselves. Oh man, I'm scared for this title. Oh no.
Oh, yeah. I'm just looking myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's scary. I'm probably going to have to do a library run then. That's it, rather than buy it.
Yeah. So you guys out there, if you check this out on Goodreads, you'll instantly see the comments we're talking about. And if you're also bold and you want to read it anyway, despite that, go for it and let me know how it is. Because I'm curious to see what you think about it, because I'm not going to read it probably. Well, you gotta let me know how it is, Melissa, because it's just so many books, so little time type of thing. And I'm well, I don't know this author very well, and I don't know. I just don't, it doesn't attract me enough to invest the time, but I'm curious to see what you think about it. And if you can confirm or deny if these opinions are valid.
Oh, that's exactly what I would have to read, just to see if the opinions actually match the book. Because every once in a while, you get those people that troll the books.
Mm-hmm.
They read the comments and then they copycat the comments, without giving the book a fair read. Every once in a while, I've seen a few books like this.
Oh, that's so rude. I would never do that. Okay, if someone else doesn't like it, why copy it? That's so crazy. Especially if it's not your own opinion. That's rude. Don't do that.
I've also seen it go the other way, where someone just absolutely loves the book and is copycatted, and the book is horrible.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to make my own opinion on this.
Yeah. Well, definitely let me know. I'm curious. But you guys that put reviews out there, definitely don't copycat reviews. Please. Please, for those of us that actually read reviews, keep it real. If it's bad, tell me. But if it's good, tell me. Don't copycat someone else's opinions. Form your own, right?
Oh, of course. I actually hate this copycat be almost verbatim. I would love to have a normal thought with a review.
Mm-hmm. As a book reviewer, I find that offensive to see, so don't do it. Just don't do it. Form your own opinion and word it as such. So, All right, so let's see. Is there anything else before we close this out for the evening? I know we kept it short and sweet, but if you have another 2017, I guess this would be a great time to mull it over before we end for the night.
I really need to get to my local bookstore and go through, see what's coming out from what Barnes & Noble say is coming out, from a new release to what other people are saying, hey, read this.
Yeah, I know. As a blogger, I do feel like I hear lots of hype on titles, through social media, through other blogger friends, and just Goodreads and everything. But I gotta be honest, I have not heard, other than the one that I mentioned by Sarah J. Maas, I haven't heard any one or two titles that people have really been, talking about and getting excited about for this season. I don't know why. It's unusual. Usually there's a handful of books that everyone is talking about, and I seem to have missed that this season.
It's very odd on where I'm at as well. There's just no one's reading the same thing, or there's a disconnect between what's coming out and what readers are looking for.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why, but somewhere, somehow there's a disconnect, I feel.
Yeah. I think it's partially because I feel like YA kind of goes in peaks and valleys. Like everyone is about it and everyone is reading it, or nobody is reading it. Because I've heard tons about adult books. We can talk about that next time. I have lots of adult books on my roster for spring and summer.
It's just weird.
I agree.
You have a lot of teenagers too. They're into everything else but reading during the spring and summer months. You have so much going on just for their age group, where fall and winter, everyone's cooped up inside. So, of course, they're going to read more.
Right. That's true. You guys out there, if you have any spring or summer recommendations for us for the young adult genre, please let us know. Comment below or find us on Twitter. Melissa's handle is below, and so is mine. And let us know. I'm curious to see if there's something that I've missed, because that would be sad. But let me know anyway.
I'm always looking for a good book to read, so I'm looking to see what the listeners say, hear, or read.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me this evening, Melissa. It's been a blast. So thanks for joining.
Thank you for having me.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for downloading, streaming, all that fun stuff. We appreciate you. And we will see you next time. And until then, happy reading. Bye, guys. Thank you for tuning in and downloading today's episode. If you are enjoying the Book Chat episodes and would like to show your support, there are a few things you can do. First, you can head on over to iTunes and give a positive 5-star review. You can follow me on Twitter at Shelf Addiction. You can follow the Shelf Addiction podcast on Spreaker, the only place where you can listen live and get broadcast notifications so that you never miss a live episode. Most importantly, you can share the podcast with friends and family that love books and audiobooks. Thank you for listening, and until next time, happy reading.